what do you enjoy doing? She said, I don't know. Well, what are you going to do about it? I don't know. Like, well, you have to start trying different things. And you said like pottery. Try pottery, go for a pottery class, go for a dance class, go like start DIYing, like upcycling furniture, something.
Hey, I'm Ronja Sakata, founder of the Joy Academy and Queen of Joy. That's how my friends call me. It's so important to me that my life is full of joy and that I enjoy every moment, because I know how fast it could be over. We can do so many things to bring joy in our lives, to create joy, and that's what this podcast is all about. I talk with people and they tell me how they bring joy to their everyday life and how they create a life full of joy. So let's dive right in, and please tell me after the episode what your takeaway is from this talk. Welcome, Ena Bautista, at the Let's Create Joy podcast. I'm so happy that you are here. We will reveal how we know each other in our talk for sure. But first, my questions, as always: who are you? What do you do? And what brings you joy in your life? And how do you create it? And we start from there.
Yay! It's such a pleasure being here. My name is Ena Bautista. I'm a mom. I'm a creative. I'm a wife. I run a business. I'm a mindset and business coach, and I help women unleash their unstoppable self. I say I'm become unstoppable coach, but I feel like each and every one of us as women, we're unstoppable. We just need help a little bit of uncovering, and unshackling ourselves, because a lot of us are shackled by negative beliefs, society expectations, how we were raised, beliefs that we took on from others. So I think we just need help removing the unnecessary. Yes, exactly. Go away. Yeah. What brings me joy? I'd say spending time with my little one, who is 3.5. I had let's say, difficult childhood, and I didn't spend much time being a child then. And now that I have a son, it's like you're forced in a way to go on their level, to a child's level, and play with him in his level. And it's absolutely amazing. I've learned to have fun that I haven't known before.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I have chills. So you can pick up your own memories you should have had, but you didn't have.
Yes. I grew up very early on. I had responsibilities as a child, and I was born in Bosnia. We experienced war, so that influenced my childhood. And now that I'm a mom with a little one, I allow myself to experience that through him. And I've learned. Before I became a mom, I was always concerned, how am I going to be as a mom? Because I was thinking, I'm going to be such a boring mom. Like, I don't know how to have fun. But now it has forced me in a way to work on myself and to get rid of those perceptions that I had about myself. And I've learned so much. I thought that I'm such a boring mom, but I actually, when you have a little one who is bored out of his life and who is crying, you learn how to make goofy faces and how to be goofy and how to pick them up when they're not feeling well. So I've become quite creative.
So being creative is something which brings you joy too, I guess.
Yes. So last year, when the lockdown began and my son and I stayed at home, my husband was working, I had to, go back to basics. I needed to find something that will keep me going through that. I've never gardened. I've never potted a plant in my entire life. Never grown a vegetable. But at the beginning of lockdown, that's how I went. Like, and I've discovered such joy in gardening, and it has helped me and my son, bond, explore the nature. I've learned so much about gardening, the plants, pots, succulents, cactus, tomatoes, everything. And he has loved it too as well. It was really, really something that he could do with me, which was not just the regular usual stuff, and it broke up that monotony that we were feeling at the beginning, because we were locked down. We couldn't go anywhere, especially in the first 12 weeks. And that was something, in a way, that was a coping mechanism for me. And then after that, I told there was a lot of things that I did for the first time, which I was telling myself, oh, I'm not good at that. Gardening was one. Secondly, it was creative things out of resin. I always said, I'm not creative at all. I'm rubbish. And I ended up using resin as an outlet to create art, to create items for use. And, it's been something that I'm still like have continued to do.
Can you show some items? Because I know your videos, but maybe some people are like, what's that?
So this is, I thought you might ask. So I prepared, so at least I'll have something. So this is a notebook that I have created, including, so these are the back and front page. It has gold floating, and then this is how it looks like on the inside. So basically this can be opened, and then you can put the paper inside, and once you're done, once you have written all, you can find it on Amazon and just like put the inserts inside. So that's just one.
It's a liquid, and it hardens very fast.
Yes.
And you can create.
So it cures. It depends on the resin, but it cures usually within 24 hours. You get like 2 parts, resin and hardener, and it's thicker than water, and then you mix it, add the colors, the glitter.
Glitter, I love glitter.
Yes. And then I add it into molds and leave it to harden. And here, if you can see, those are my glitters and pigments. So this wasn't here when we moved. This was just a plain wall, and then I created the space there for myself where
that's something you started in lockdown too. Is that
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm already impressed by gardening. I'm so not good in gardening. We have some, that was funny, from the food of the bird food in winter, maybe some seeds, not maybe, it has to be, some seeds fell down on our veranda, and some ninja sunflowers grew out of this little space.
Oh, that's so sweet.
The stone.
The crack.
So we have a ninja. We had last summer. We couldn't pass nearly with our tray when we were eating outside, because there was so many big, gigantic sunflowers. So that's like, oh, I can grow ninja sunflowers. I don't have to do anything.
Yes, and for me it was more picking and simply exploring. Last year, I told myself, you know what? I've always said that I'm not good at this. How about if I just try? So I put some seeds in the soil and said, if something comes out of it, good. If it doesn't, I've learned something. And I ended up having tomatoes, big squash, like pumpkins, courgettes, and that courgette like really served us and the neighbors because we had so much.
So cool.
Wow. Ooh, I'm not rubbish at this after all.
And I like the analogy of growing, with the seeds for coaching. You don't dig up the seeds like grow, where are you, like, and hurry up. You just let it grow. I love the coaching aspect of seeds growing in the soil. But
yes, yeah, and you have to nurture it. And one of the things, like how I would I became a coach a couple of years ago, and then I started questioning a lot of my preconceived ideas, what I had, like especially with like creativeness, gardening. And I told myself, you know what, this I've been telling myself my entire life that I'm something. How about if I flip it on its head? And what if not, I'm not? And that's, for me, that was like the question that I always asked myself um, when I stumble on something. It's like, what if this is not true? Maybe, like, what if I can do it? you know you tell yourself, oh, you can't do this. Well, what if you can? And you take it from there, and then you just try one step in front of the other, and then all of a sudden you have a new skill. And I didn't even dream in my wildest dreams that I'm going to have a full garden of veggies and flowers. And I've been gardening pretty hard last couple of days. like and I didn't even dream that I'm going to be selling my resin makes, because it started off just as a hobby, and all of a sudden, like, oh, maybe I could sell this. Why not?
And we will put all your details into the show.
Yes.
Of course. Do you have an Etsy shop, or how do you sell it?
I said, you know what? Everyone goes on Etsy. So I have an Etsy shop for only 2 or 3 items, but usually I sell everything on my own site. And I thought, you know what? Like, oh, everyone is on Etsy. Everyone is like selling there. I might as well have my own site, because, like, when someone goes to your store, and I've seen myself as well, like, they go to the store, and then a lot others suggestions will come up, and then it's just like a lot of competition. And I thought to myself, well, if it's on my own store, they do not have suggestions from others.
So cool.
Yeah, in a
So
way,
you
I've
see
been
now where we went from what brings
yes.
joy. That's so interesting. So yeah, let's go back and explore some more, because it's so inspiring. It doesn't have to be this hobby; it can be something else. Like, I would love to try pottery sometime, but I know I need a course. I did it once when I was a child, and it's not as easy as it looks like on these Instagram videos. So
No,
like, doing a pottery course is on my bucket list. So what else
definitely.
did you start, or what brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Dancing. Like, I have one noise canceling headset, and then when everything is a little bit too much, I just put on some music, and then I'll just jump around or go for a walk. I love walking, and I've realized that when I go for a walk and when I allow myself to just like release all of the thoughts, a lot of new inspired ideas come from that. And then I get ideas for the business, the programs that I want to launch, and then I come home and open up a journal and then start writing. So I find that really, really, in a way, it's not a joy in a way that, you're jumping for joy, but joy in a calming and relaxing way.
Yeah, I think there are so many nuances of joy, and that's the beauty of it. And it's very personal what brings you joy. So that's
Oh,
my
yes.
favorite
Oh, yes.
question.
Oh, yes. And you definitely need to dig in to find what gives you joy, because I remember way before I did the self-development work, way before I was even aware of it, I was quite an unhappy person. I experienced some trauma in life, and I was very bitter and, held like a grudge and resentment towards the experiences I have gone in my life. And when I started opening up and exploring, then I started asking myself, okay, what actually makes me happy? And then I think a lot of us don't dig deep to find what brings us joy, what makes us happy, what we enjoy doing. We just get stuck in a rut with businesses, with jobs, with families, and very little spend time finding what actually brings us joy. And you said, like, I know I've mentioned to someone in the past, like she felt unhappy, and I said, well, what do you enjoy doing? She said, I don't know. Well, what are you going to do about it? I don't know. Like, well, you have to start trying different things. And you said, like, pottery. Try pottery, go for a pottery class, go for a dance class, go like start DIYing, like upcycling furniture, something. And that's one of my passions as well. But you have to find, you have to start doing things so you'll find something that gives you joy. Otherwise, you'll just stay in a rut and you won't find what makes you happy and what gets you out of the slump when you're feeling down. And
yeah, trying new things and things which excites you, like, oh, that would be
exactly.
nice, not something you don't want to do. That how that's not boring, that's not exciting. And I know some people are like, life is not supposed to be fun, or how easy would it be if I only did things that are fun. But I'm like, well, why not? Because we don't
Yes,
know how long our life is how long we are here, so let's have fun. And I know
exactly.
it sounds a little like like too easy, but I think it's not. Finding what's exciting to you, what's fun and brings you joy, then you have more energy, and then it's just nicer to be around you at work, at home. So for me, really, like, joy is my compass is my slogan in my company, and that's just how I live my life. And you seem to be on the
Yes,
same on the same
yes.
page.
I wasn't always like this. And once you find what brings you joy, and when you start doing more of those things that are really like that give you pleasure, that make you happy, and like the fun things, then you do not feel so like the difficult bits don't seem so difficult, like, because if everything is serious, if everything is just the responsibilities, as some people think, life should be. And I used to think that, guilty. Guilty as charged. But if you keep on living like that, it's just like monotony. There's no, do you really want to spend the rest of your life being unhappy and miserable, and, not enjoying the things that bring you pleasure? I know a lot of us have been raised to think about, and life is just about the responsibilities. This is how the life goes. And, I remember when I was younger, we were told, oh, you're judged if you're too playful. Well, now I'm my own adult, myself, my own person. I have my own mind, so I can decide, and I don't really care what others say. Like, I'm making my life much more enjoyable, easier
How do
to.
you what do you say to your clients when they ask you about yeah, what will people think? That's such a huge block of everybody, I think, to just not
Yes.
do what you want to do because what would people think of me or of my family? Or how do you attack this limiting
So yes, how do
thought?
I attack it? We usually go deep down, like, what's behind that belief? Like, why do they have the need to feel that everyone has to like them? And I've had that struggle in the past. I did everything to please everyone, and I was so in such a, like, I was so miserable because I said yes to everything, and when I have a client who says, oh, but like, what will the others say? I cannot tell you what to do, but I can help you uncover what's behind that belief. Why do you have the need for everyone to like you? And it's always going to be something like really, really deep, because, and then from there we will work like why, and releasing negative emotions around it, and establishing some new helpful habits, and definitely working on the belief that this is what I noticed, that a lot of people won't establish boundaries and won't say no, mostly because they're scared what will other person think. And and they feel that if they establish boundaries, and if they say no, or if they do things like, that's going to make them happy, and it means like them unhappy, the other person, and it means they are a bad person for saying no or for establishing boundaries. So it's more about digging deep what's behind those beliefs and finding the root cause, and then just like working on that root cause.
Yeah,
I
and
can easily tell you, like, well, who the heck cares what they think? But if we don't dig deep, what's underneath, then it's not going to make much difference, right?
yeah, and that I just find it so amazing that the priority, like I make everybody else happy and I'm unhappy. Like, wow, like think of that. How about
Yes,
you being happy is the priority because you are more of service when you are happy and
definitely,
taking care of
definitely.
yourself.
And a lot of it comes down to like valuing ourselves. And a lot of us women devalue ourselves and our, you know, we love everyone else, but it feels difficult to love yourself
Mhm.
with all your flaws and everything. We are sometimes so easy to forgive others, and like we can't forgive ourselves. So that's one of the things that I work with, mostly women. I don't refuse men, but I have a passion for women because of my own journey, what I went through, how I healed, how I changed myself as a person, how I up leveled. And I know a lot of women struggle with that, with their experiences. So I can definitely relate to that more.
I just was thinking when I was listening to you, it's so beautiful that, I mean, there are millions of coaches on the whole world, but we are so different because of our experience and our approach and our energy. Like, yeah, I had so many different coaches already interviewed, and there is somebody for everybody, like
Oh, yes.
you feel it. And you remember we met in a social media course club, not
Yes.
a club membership. And
Yes. Yes.
do you remember the question about this other lady, like she's doing what I do and she's now following me, and this is so difficult.
Yes, yes, yes. Vaguely remember. I cannot remember, what was it. Can
Yeah,
you
she
remember?
was just concerned that somebody is following her on social media doing the same work and she will copycat maybe, or what is that? And there I felt it so deeply, and I was grateful that I don't have this stress anymore, because like listening to you, you do the same thing than I do, but the right people will go to Ena and the right people will go to Ronja. And it's just, and I can even send you people like, oh, I think you need Ena, just because of the feeling. I love
Yes,
that. I love
exactly,
that.
exactly. And we all have different experiences, different upbringing, different past, memories, and we filter information, the same information differently, and we're going to interpret it, react to it differently. And at the end of the day, each of our energy is very, very individual. So, I always say there's no competition; it's just like collaboration.
Yeah, that's really, and this feeling is so delicious. Like there is no competition. How do you get or got there? I think I have to reflect on that too, because it's like,
How did I
oh,
get
it's
there?
like
I
stay.
haven't thought about that. Give me a second. How did I get there? Well, I think, being the more I worked on myself, the more, I was dealing with my beliefs, like limiting beliefs, and um, from childhood. And, like when as you're growing up, there's always this like competition between women, like the jealousy, the envy. And it took me a while to realize that it's not about the competition. And I think it came from appreciating my own gifts, my zone of genius, learning to love myself as I am. I think that's it. Like when you start loving yourself and appreciating and, really being aware of all the gifts that you have, then you become more aware that, others will have different gifts. It's not about, is she better than me? Is the other person better than me? Or am I better? It's not about like, I'm going to top you or you're going to top me. And it's also, simply just being surrounded by other women and seeing like how often they do the same thing, but you'll connect to one coach or to one person much easier than the other person. And it's just that understanding that personal energy, more than before.
I think sometimes it's annoying, like I heard this from this person, this person, this person, and now after I don't know how many years, now I listen to you, I'm like, now I get it. Before I heard it, but I didn't get it.
Exactly.
So
And sometimes like we will hear things, with different filters, with different awareness. We will hear, like, if you've ever read one book multiple times, each time you're going to pick up something different from it.
even that,
If you've listened to a training from a coach that you've been following it for a while, and you re-listen to that training second, third time around, you're going to pick up different things. And it's like we filter things from a different level of awareness, but it's also like, it's just about, again, with that energy, it's going to hit different if you hear it, if, for an example, I hear it from you than from someone else.
it's so
So
cool.
yeah.
I just love this whole, it's just a process. And for me, life is like a game. And I know it's hard to say life is a game when you're really in a bad place. Like, life is a game. Fuck you with that. Like,
Yes,
expression.
I get you.
But still there, like, let's create little enjoyable time pockets where we can lift ourselves up. And I don't, that's something I repeat myself all the time. I'm not that, like, not, don't be happy like this. I'm sad when I'm sad, and I'm angry
Exactly.
when I'm angry. That I have no problem with letting the feeling out and really feel it. And then I can like talk to myself like, okay, are you done now? What do you need now?
Yes, yes,
Then you
yes.
can pick yourself up from there. But I know, like, talking like life is a game and you're really in a bad place, that seems like offensive. What would you say to a person like at a really bad place? What's the next step? What
Is the next
what to
step?
do?
I think it's going to depend a lot on the situation. That would be like as if I'm telling my younger self, will be experienced for. I know my parents didn't eat for 3 days just so my sister and I could eat. I was 7 and my sister was 3. So, saying, have fun to someone who has experienced something like that, it's just like rude. It definitely. Someone who is homeless, again, don't like, it would be, I wouldn't say something like that to someone like that, but I would definitely encourage to ask help. If you're in a bad place, try to look for the information, try to ask for help wherever you can, the local services, reach out to people. A lot of us, I've felt like really, really low last year as well. I had leftovers of postnatal depression, and it was difficult for me really to tune into something positive. And I was like feeling really bad. Like the longer the lockdown was going on, the worse it felt. And I felt alone, especially because I don't have any relatives here. And I think when I was at the deepest, at the most difficult, I tried to focus on, these little things that I could. And that, in a way, got me through it. The gardening. And I reached out to people. I reached out, I went for therapy because I realized that I couldn't handle it anymore on my own. I reached out to groups, to people that I, only knew from online spaces. And I said, you know what, I'm feeling pretty, please, and people reached out. They reached out to help because, that is my experience of the online community. It's not just a negative. I've surrounded myself with women that I have never in my entire life met in person. I know people for 5 years, only met them online, never seen them in person, but we've become so close. And I've shared with them what I haven't been able to share, for an example, with someone who were really close to me, because they understood. That community really, really helped because they could relate. And that's one of the reasons why I'm passionate about my work, because when you're feeling really in the depths, and when you want to do everything to change your situation, when you don't know where is the end and what's your next step, I want to be there to help people to find that next step and go for whatever they desire. I know I went quite a bit
No,
around.
that's beautiful. I was just thinking, I was processing because, yeah, from here. I want first you have to know what do I want and where do I want to go, and then next step, and then the next step.
Yes, exactly. If you're in a really, really bad position, I think, as I was last year, for me, the thing that I didn't want, I knew that I didn't want to feel that way any longer. So I asked myself, okay, what can I do about it? Because it was difficult for me to tune into something really magnificent, because I was in the depths of the depression and feeling really sad. So the first step was, okay, what can I do so I can stop feeling this way? What can I do so I'm not going through these emotions every single day? How can I move a little bit forward? So,
What
you take one step at a time. And then once I got myself out of the constant slump, it was easier to think about, okay, the big vision.
what did you what kind of technique or method did you use? Are you willing to share that?
Oh, yes, I don't mind sharing. I'm a big, huge mental health advocate. So I had to go on therapy. It was difficult for me to admit that because, I had to take some tablets because I was delaying it because I was afraid to admit that I needed help. I'm a mindset coach. Who the heck does that? What kind of person does that? But I had to admit to myself that I couldn't handle it differently anymore. It's enough trying to do it on my own, and that's one of the struggles that I've had in the past. I've always relied on myself, and now okay, I have to. It felt like admitting defeat, but it actually wasn't. It was actually the first step forward. So I went for that, and I reached out to cognitive behavioral therapy. For therapy, and then the therapist did that with me. I had a couple of friends who used NLP techniques again, to question some of my beliefs. So when I started going into doubting myself, I would use what I've learned as a NLP practitioner and use that. But it's not the same. I could tell you oh yes, you can heal yourself if you have all those qualifications, but it's not the same. I had all those techniques. I knew it, but it's not the same. You can't see the 360. you cannot recognize your own patterns until, well, some you can, but until you work with someone and they just like, oh, maybe you should consider this, and it clicks. Oh, actually it does.
Yeah, having a coach is such a beautiful thing. I always invest in coaches because it's just, yes, they have the thing I want to achieve, and have the overview and can point you to also little path, like try this path. What about this? Like,
Exactly,
oh, I didn't do
exactly.
that one. Yeah, yeah.
And we all different use different approaches, different techniques. For an example, I will always rely in my coaching. I always rely on my experience, personal experience, from so I can relate to whatever client is going, because I think that's a really powerful like way of establishing some kind of rapport with the client, but also relating to their struggles, and also how I've gone out of those struggles. So the experience of going out and what I've done personally. Then I will use NLP techniques, neuro linguistic programming, because that's something which is really, really powerful and creates change very quickly. It has some hypnotic language. Timeline therapy is perfect for those like big, heavy emotions. And then last month or 2 months ago, I joined Energetic Breakthrough Method certification, and that focuses more on energetic stuff. So working on your inner child, shadows, divine feminine and masculine. So I try to combine a bit of everything, because exactly, sometimes excuse me, you have a client that will not be able to relate to the spiritual stuff, and they will want something which is more a bit logical for their mind. And for me, that was like a really no-brainer to implement that as well. And it's been absolutely mind-blowing for me going through the certification.
The certification for yourself.
Yes.
I did a loads of courses in the last 25 years just for me. I didn't think that I will be a coach. I was a teacher. I was studying food engineering. So
Oh,
I produced salad dressings, nothing with coaching. But I did all these courses and seminars for myself to just like learn. And now I can use them all. It's just so cool to have a toolbox full of tools,
yes.
so different. And as you
And for me,
say,
when I joined that course, for me, it was like, okay, I want another. I felt the calling for a while for it. And then the course came in, the certification came in promotion, and was like, oh, I want that. I really want that. Like, it's something that I want to add to my toolbox, because it's not everything will work for everyone. Not all approaches will be good for everyone. So something that has worked for me, it's not going to work for someone else. And being able to like adapt my coaching to the client, it's very important for me.
absolutely. And then you have the best results. If you're
Oh
just like,
yes. Oh,
this is
yes.
my cookie cutter pace
No.
way, and we have to follow this. Sorry, then you won't have the mind blowing results.
Yes, exactly. I'm guilty of trying the cookie cutter approaches from others, like even
Yeah,
just
but we
last
can
year.
learn from them too and think
Yes, yes, yes. I would never say they are a waste. You either like you learn from it either way. If you allow yourself to learn, that's as well. If you disregard it as a failure, you're not going to take the lessons out of it. And I think it's very important. And this is what I've done last year. I joined the program. I'm still freaking paying it off. It was like 1 year, installment plan. And at the time, it really sounded amazing. And I was like, yes, I want that. It's like everything that I needed. But as the training went on, I realized, oh goodness, I think I've joined out of like fear of missing out on something, and not actually like it didn't. When I think back, it didn't really feel right. It was just like tapping into my fear that, I needed to learn, I needed to get better. Everything that I've learned so far is not enough.
Okay.
Yeah, like there are courses that we join like that and think about it. And then there was we had to go follow the program. You do this and this and this, and I was like a perfect student, did every single step. And then the webinar came in, and we were supposed to use like certain script. It makes me cringe, honestly. It makes me cringe when I remember. And I'd say I'm embarrassed, but I'm not. Like, I learned from it, and I followed that script. Even at the time, it felt so wrong on so many levels, but I did it. And like, I could see the numbers dwindling as I went along. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? And then after that, that was like a really eye-opening experience for me. I was like, you know what? The cookie cutter approach does not work.
Yeah, but for
It won't
some
work for
other
everyone
person, it
again.
could work.
Yes,
It
yeah.
really has to be authentic to your business and your life.
Yes,
Everything.
exactly. Before you make a decision, you have to figure out, okay, does this feel right for me? And the reasons why you're joining a program or joining a course need to be the right reasons.
I ask my fourth question again because that's so interesting. How do you create joy in your everyday life? We know a lot of you already like being creative and gardening and playing with your son and making goofy moves. But do you have like things you do for yourself, for your self-care, for your self-love? You said dancing, going for a walk. You said a lot
Yes.
of things already. But do you have like other little tricks? Because that's what I'm passionate about, like not having another to-do list for self-care, but
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
implementing it in your
True.
day to make
Definitely. And
every day special and joyful. That's my goal.
yes. I always say, like, for an example, even with self-care, it's not always the big things, like sometimes the joy is like, I create a joy today for myself by putting on makeup. I don't always put on makeup, but I really took time, put on my makeup, to put the mirror, and then I really enjoyed picking out the colors, doing my eyeliner, picking up which lipstick am I going to use for the interview. So for me, that was joy. Those are the little things, I think it's about finding even the smallest things that bring you joy. It can be a bath, it can be alone time. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with, sensory overwhelmed and screaming by my son. I'll just lock myself in the room for an hour, turn off the lights, put on a blanket. And for me, that's, a way that I relax. Resin is one of the big things that brings me joy. Thinking about how am I going to plan the next piece? How am I going to create it? Picking up glitters. And definitely being on my own while I'm doing that. That was for me, that was something just for me. It wasn't just like, of course, I love playing with my son, but that was just for me. Gardening, I have some succulents here, so I keep looking. Oh, does it have a new baby leaf or something? Does it need water? Gardening and taking care of plants can be such a joy, great source of joy, even if it's just like one small plant.
And what else? What else? I want to know
Oh, what
everything.
else? What else?
I'm so curious.
Sewing.
Whoa, okay.
Yes. So this made by me.
Wow.
In the last year, and I haven't sewn for like I think 10 years. That was one of the things I picked to check out fabrics online, and I see something. Oh, that's something nice. I could create something. So I think I've made around 6 dresses in the last year for
Wow. And
myself.
did you already know how to use the machine, or you didn't have a machine, or you bought one?
No. So I learned when I was like 12, 13. My mom showed me the basics, bare basics. And then before I became a mom, she said, I want to gift you a sewing machine because I know when you become a mom, you're going to need it, like even just for trimming trousers, if that's all you need to use it for. And then I got the sewing machine as a gift, and it was like not collecting dust, but it was tucked away in a box. And then last year, I thought to myself, you know what? It would be nice because I can never. Built weirdly, so when I go out to buy clothes, it's a bit like a struggle finding something that fits how I want it to fit. And then I started watching videos to remind myself. Created one dress as a practice, and then I did, I think, 3 dresses in a row, and that just helped me pick it up like very quickly.
And
And
that's
then
again
I
something, if you know the basics, just do it and try and
Yes,
then change it
yes.
if it's
You
not.
know, I didn't know how to use like a certain, like how to cut the patterns. Then I didn't know how to create certain hems. Luckily, we have YouTube, so everything is available on YouTube at the end of the day.
Everything.
Like, and I've learned V-neck, like neckline, U-shaped. Like, I've learned so much stuff. The things that my mom showed me the basics, and she doesn't even know, and like we've come full circle. Now I'm telling her how to do something, so it's like really fun.
So cool. I was so bad in sewing in school. I liked, when I can do it with my hands, I like that. But the sewing, and everybody was doing is that a word in English? The bolero jacket, the
Oh
short,
yes,
short
yeah, I
one.
know, I know.
And I wasn't into fashion at all. I had t-shirt, hoodie, and jeans until I was 20. So I did a night shirt kind of, but it was just a square with two, like openings for the arms, and it was hilarious. Like, oh come on, I didn't put it on for one time. So
So I would encourage you and challenge you, if that has been quite a while ago, you might approach it with a different perspective now. Yeah, so
I would
give
love to,
yourself
my
benefit of the
dresses.
doubt.
The dresses I love to wear, I think they're quite simple. They're like 5 pieces. And if I would see another, what's material in English? The it's not silk, but what is just the jersey or so? When I could
Yeah.
buy that and just make the same dress as fitty as I have it already.
And for me, that was the thing why I started, because I was trying to look for a dress and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I had one black and one dark green. So what I did, I ripped apart the green one so I can make a pattern, and then transfer that pattern onto new fabric and create the same dress that I
Fabric,
had.
that's the word I was looking
Yes,
for.
yes. So, pick an easy fabric and try. It can be really, really easy. And nowadays, you can find digital patterns, and they have like really detailed instructions on how to do every single bit of it. So, who
Oh,
knows?
oh, you're
What
getting me
if?
places.
And it gives me such pleasure, like just wearing this dress for me gives me pleasure because I know that I have made it myself. I know how it came to life. It wasn't done by like child labor. It wasn't
Yes,
created by
please.
child
Yeah.
labor. How it, and it's something that when I opened my closet, I was like, oh, I made this myself. Like it came from my own hands.
You're getting me somewhere. I just feel it like, ooh, because one of my best friends, she's really like in the sewing game now, full on. And I asked her if she would do a dress for me and how much would it cost. She said like that's on, you can't pay for the work putting in there. So
No,
maybe
no.
I just ask her showing me how to do it.
Yes, and
Wow.
definitely you can buy like very simple patterns. And this is what, like, I could see you, like glowing all the way with the ideas. That's one of the things that I have learned to appreciate clothes much more. And the process of creation after I have created a couple of dresses myself. And now, when there's a birthday or something, especially children's birthday, I can create leggings for the little ones easily because I have a pattern for that. I can create something for someone easily, and it's a gift from me. I think it feels much more special when it has been created by you. I went to Croatia in August last year to visit my family, and I created 2 blouses, one for my mom and for my sister. And they have been so amazed. And when they go to work wearing those blouses, everyone is like, oh my goodness, where did you get that shirt? And it's unique because I bought the fabric where, like, you can't see it on someone else. So that's joy as well.
That's joy. I love it. I love it. I want to do so many creative things. So sewing is not like on the first place, but it's like approaching me. I can feel it. Thank you so much.
Allow yourself to explore it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when the internet makes it possible that the whole world can listen to us, what is your message to the world? That's my last question always.
Oh, what is my message to the world? I'd say I have so many, but I remember.
Just start. You can talk and talk and talk.
Yes, of course. Last year, it was 2020, just before lockdown. 31st of January was my first ever speaking gig. And I'm just going to give a little bit of feedback. Up to that point, I've never spoken on stage. It was first time ever that I stood on stage and shared my story. But when I went through NLP training and timeline therapy, I got rid of a lot of my trauma. And during the training, before the training, I felt like I was broken. I felt like there was always something wrong with me. I will never be able to experience joy or love or happiness and, really enjoy life until the training. And I remember going in and we were doing timeline therapy, getting rid of the unhelpful emotions. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to surrender to this. I don't know how the heck is this going to work, but you know what? I've got nothing to lose. I came here to change something in my life. So I said, let's go. And within minutes, I got rid of such a heavy burden. And up until that point, I felt like I was broken. And when I went on stage for the first time, my message was, you are not broken. Whatever experiences that you've had in the past, there is, future for you. There is life, love, happiness, joy, pleasure, everything ahead of you. You can not only survive your bad experiences, but you can thrive no matter, what you've gone through. And that's my message, like no matter what you've been through, I know it might have been tough, but trust me, you can be happy. So my message.
Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. And it's so true. It might not be easy, but it's worth the work and the steps and
allow yourself to explore what is out there. Allow yourself to, ask yourself, what if it's possible for me to experience and joy and love and happiness if you've been feeling like really low so far.
Thank you. Where can people find you? We will put everything into the show notes,
yes,
but it's nice to hear it too.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Clubhouse, on Facebook, on my website, which is being updated as I've changed a bit of like my programs and how I work with people, but the underlying message is always about the confidence and empowering women. So yes, they can find me there.
And do you have the same handle everywhere, like Ena Bautista?
Pretty much, Yes, only on Instagram is Ena J Bautista, but enabautista.com and .co.uk, those are my websites. That's my website, Ena Bautista. If you find me on Facebook, I'll be there. Clubhouse, the same.
So cool.
So,
It's nice to have unique names. Or are there not many Ena Bautistas in the world, aren't there?
So no, I'm not sure. Like there are a couple, but when I type in my name, like I think the first 2 pages is just me. Mostly like all my trainings that I've done and strategic. The LinkedIn, I knew where to put those details, so like it's good for the SEO.
Yeah. Ronja Sakata, I don't think there is anybody else.
I think in Croatia, I was the only one. I'm not sure. That was about 8 years ago, so it might have changed. But I was the only one in Croatia.
Could I send you a letter, Ena Bautista UK, and it would arrive at your doorstep? What do you think? We should test that. Let's do that. Because Ronja Sakata, Switzerland, I bet that this is working.
I'm not sure. We can try.
Let's try that. Let's do that today and try. I send you a letter and you me, and then we can reveal it on Instagram. Shall we?
Oh, yes. Let's try.
Let's
what
try.
can we lose? There's nothing
What can
to
we
lose,
lose?
right?
What can we lose? That is fun. That brings me joy now to just do this experiment with you. That's so cool.
We can be silly and try things out which are out of the ordinary.
Yes, we can.
I would have freaked out about that one long time ago. Some years ago, it's like, what's the point? But
what's the point?
Right? That's what I used to say to myself.
Let's have
the point is to have fun.
Silly joy moments in our everyday life and create them on our own. Don't wait for them. Just create.
Yes.
What brings you joy. Thank you so much, Ena, for your time and your energy. It was a real big pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this interview as much as I did. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes if you liked it. Also, make sure to join my free joy group on Facebook to discuss this episode and other joy topics, and you can find the link to it in my show notes on joyismycompass.com/blog. If you are looking for ways to incorporate more joy into your daily life, I've got the most awesome tool for you. Head over to joyismycompass.com/UA to hire your personal universal assistant. What is that? You'll find out. Just click on the link joyismycompass.com/UA. See you in the next episode.